a weird 24 hours for the Walleye. First, the way the weekend ended. Rookie netminder Angus Redmond made his Huntington Center debut and gave up 5 goals on 19 shots and didn't make it to the end of the game before being pulled. The good news, Walleye still have the most points in the division, the conference, and the entire East Coast Hockey League. But so much more to it here in the last day. All right, pleased to be joined now by the voice of hockey in Toledo, Matt Melzak, as he does every Monday because he is just that nice of a person. Thank you for being here.
Oh, it's always a pleasure.
Yeah, always. All right.
Always.
Oh, fantastic. Okay, last night, not a pleasure for the Toledo Walleye. Young Angus back in net, first home game for him.
Yes.
Fair to say disappointing.
Well, I think that's fair to say.
Yeah.
I think it really is. There's a number of those goals where he would have loved to have had back. And I think when you saw the ones where he gave up in the second period, I mean, the first one could have been knocked out of the air with a high stick, very close, borderline. The second one, good play in front. There's not a lot of opportunity for him there. Defensive breakdown for the Walleye. But those ones in the second period, and I think the reason why he was lifted from the game in favor of Pat Nagel was because of the fact that you're looking at the blue line shots, just wrist shots, and especially the fifth one where it looked like he had a beat on it and just missed it. And it happens. I mean, you're not going to be great every time you go out there. And he was fantastic the previous Sunday. We talked about that last week.
Brampton.
And now all of a sudden you get a night where it's just not going your way. And I think that's why Dan Watson gave him a long leash and said, I keep trying. And then all of a sudden that goal went in and he's like, I can't. I have to. If I have any hope of coming back in this game, I've got to do something.
I was a little surprised. I mean, we talked last week about some moves being made, and then after we talked, more moves made. Is this going to keep happening as we get closer to the playoffs, or are we going to try to get set with the roster that we have?
Boy, it'd be a great question for Dan Watson.
Yes.
Do we need to make we need to make a call or something here?
Right. But we talked about the Walleye moves. An interesting one in the last move that it's not happening.
Yeah, the trade that Toledo went with on last Thursday with Brampton, sending Eric Bradford to Brampton. Jamie Dornbosch, a defenseman, was coming to Toledo. Jamie is going to retire from the game. So he has basically said, I am moving on from hockey, and I'm going into the work world. So, he's a guy's already got his MBA, I believe. So he's probably got something really good lined up and wants to pursue that avenue. So, certainly best of luck to him going forward. And you know what? Toledo will deal without him.
Okay, so the particulars here, and obviously it's not that I'm not coming to Toledo, I'm going to get out of hockey before I go to Toledo. He had something set up already.
More than likely, he would already had that set up. But as soon as the season was over, he's probably, he's a Canadian guy, so he was probably, I've got this set up here, I got this. I'm not moving. I'm not going down to Toledo to play. It's nothing against Toledo or anything of that nature. They didn't want to play anymore. It's just he probably already had this lineup. And Brampton, where they're at, they're not going to make the playoffs. So he probably already had it in his mind. I'm just going to finish out the year and go on. And, it happens. We have not seen that. It's happened before in the league. And, it won't be the last time that it happens. But, certainly we haven't seen that here. And it's just one of those cases that does happen sometimes when you make a deal.
And technically, what does that do as far as Bradford is concerned? Does Brampton keep him, or do we get him back?
The trade was completed.
Okay.
So the rights to Eric Bradford went to Brampton. The rights to Jamie Dornbosch came to Toledo. So what we'll end up doing here for the Walleye, they'll just put him on the suspension list, and that's where he'll stay until the end of the season. So, but Eric Bradford will go to Brampton, and he's going to play, and that's that.
Are we still in the market for a defenseman now?
Boy, I don't know about that. It's possible that there could be an ad, with the colleges ending now and those kind of things. You could see a defenseman that gets added. We just added one last week on an ATO, and Dalton Carter was +4, by the way, on Friday night.
Yeah,
Not
welcome
bad.
to the club.
So, you could still see that as an ad yet, but you look at Toledo right now, and you're still loaded up pretty well back there defensively. So it's possible they'll probably add another one, I would guess, just as a body.
Sure.
But to make sure you have enough for the stretch run. But Kevin Tansey should be healthy at some point this week.
Yep.
You're already at 7 anyway.
All right, there he is, Matt Melzak, voice of hockey in Toledo, getting us ready for another week with the Walleye.